Hey, so welcome back. I know it has been a while since the last time I talked to everyone. I know I haven't made videos in a while. I've been actually just on the grind. I'm either doing whatnot, I'm on eBay, I'm on a little bit of everything. So I've just been trying to keep up with everything, but I figured it was time for me to come on and kind of explain what I felt like getting to my first 1,000 followers on whatnot. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was easy. That was probably one of the hardest grinds I've had to do in a very long time. Outside of my normal career, I would say this is actually one of the hardest things is getting your first 1,000 followers. I think that's something that people downplay a lot, and it's actually something really difficult to do. So in this video, I'm going to give you 3 different tips that could actually help you to get to your first 1,000 followers. I'll do another video about my first 1,000 sales. This one's just going to be about gaining followers because your followers are the people that buy from you, but also it's somebody that you can get to know and they help you network, right? So let's get right into it. Being personable, number one. Now you would think that like being personable is something easy. I can tell you most people that go live on whatnot struggle their first few times, right? You're nervous, you don't know what to expect. You're trying to show a product, trying to remember to add everything in the inventory. You're trying to do everything all at once, and it's a lot to handle. So one thing I always want to tell people is just be personable. What does that mean to like be personable? It's okay to talk to people. It's okay to answer their questions. Some people be like, hey, what kind of music do you like? Throw out the music that you like. That might start a whole different conversation. And then once you start talking, the whole chat will start talking. So if I have a dead chat, especially getting to my first 1,000, what I was doing was I would actually ask them a random question like, hey, what's better, Burger King, McDonald's? Something random, right? But then we get the chat talking. Once people start getting talking, the chat will also start taking care of itself, right? So I'll be like, hey, what's everyone's favorite fast food? Let's say it's In-N-Out because a lot of people do like In-N-Out. Best thing that came out of that was I'd start talking to people about In-N-Out like, hey, well, have you even tried it? Right? Then you get into the Whataburger In-N-Out kind of conversation, right? But that sparks conversation, keeps people in chat, right? And the more people you have in chat, the higher your views are, the higher you go up. So, right, so being personal, start having those conversations. It doesn't have to be complicated. It could be like, hey, what's y'all's favorite color, right? Like I take random polls and it keeps people engaged, which means they are actually actively typing on chat. A lot of people are flipping between other channels, but if they're enjoying the conversation, they're most likely to stay. The more they stay, the higher up you go, the more followers you get, right? So being personable, and then also remember that, right? So listening is number 2. Listen to your chat. A lot of times I'd ask them like, hey, what's y'all's favorite kind of music? In the beginning it was oddly enough, which doesn't sell well for me now, which it was country music, right? So I'd get into a conversation about country music. A lot of it was like Luke Bryan, Zach Brown, whatever it was, right? And I'd listen to what they were saying and I'd remember it. I'd also, even after sometimes they get a sale, I'd write it on a sticky note, or depending on how you want to do, how you keep track, right? I'd write it down. So that way, like when I go to print or label, I remember it. And I actually might add a sticky note to a different like spreadsheet that I keep track of who likes what sometimes, depending on how much they buy, right? If it's a single item, probably not. If they're coming in buying 10, 20 items every show, yeah, I'm going to be trying to remember, right? So I'd listen to what they like, and then I'd actually go find those out in the wild, or I'd order them, or however you want to get your inventory. Me personally, I go out in the wild, so for me, it was good, right? So that way I could actually remember. I'd actually go remember what they wanted, take that item, and then that way I would tag them if I was going to be running, or I'd share the stream to them, but that way they also knew I was listening, right? I cared, so they knew if they said something, I'd come back and I'd be like, hey, I found the item you're asking, right? So it makes people want to come back, which then they're going to follow you and want to stay, but also other people in chat are going to see like, hey, this person listens to what we want, so if they throw something out there, maybe they'll go get it for me, right? So the smaller you are, obviously it's a lot easier, right? So getting to your first 1,000, that helped me a lot, was people were like, hey, I really like Slipknot. So I'd go out and find 3, 4 Slipknot shirts, and I'd tag some people, and then more people would follow because I figured there were some people I didn't even know like certain things like G-Unit. That was a brand I had never heard of. 10 different people wanted it. Went out and got one, got all 10 of those people to follow. Now they buy off me frequently, right? So listening to your people. Now, obviously, there's an easy way to get more followers. Kind of. You have to make a choice, right? So a lot of people like to say do giveaways. A lot of people will join a giveaway, right? And then they will follow you, they'll stick around, and then they'll go to another stream after they get the giveaway, or they'll hang out and see if there's more giveaways, right? So this is a cheap way, right? It might cost you $5, $6, depending on what you're trying to give away, and then they'll follow you. Now, the downside to this one is, obviously, a lot of people will follow for a giveaway and then unfollow and then jump to the next stream. So you just wasted $6, you might get 1 or 2. But also giveaways, once you start them, people are going to kind of expect them, right? So you can do giveaways. I did do some. I still do some, just depending on what I'm doing that day. I do think it's a way to connect with people and also give back to the community. If people are buying off you, they feel like you're listening. There's a few different ways to do giveaways, but I think giveaways can be an easy way to gain followers, especially when you're small, because people are like, okay, well, it's a small seller. I'm probably getting good deals, and I can get some free stuff. So then they'll stick around. The other one to do it is $1 starts. Everybody likes cheap stuff. Now, when you're doing $1 stuff, you also cannot just give like bad stuff away. If it's a bad t-shirt, it's a bad t-shirt, right? An Old Navy blank t-shirt is not going to sell even for $1, right? But if you're doing Slipknot for $1, yeah, that's going to sell. And then people are going to come back and they're going to start following you because they want those cheap deals. Now, the higher and the bigger you grow, obviously that gets a little more difficult because the $1, now you have, let's say, 20 people in chat. It's not going to go for $1 ever. So the people that used to join just to get good deals are kind of going to leave. Now, granted, there's always those slip ups where like the chat just goes silent and somebody does get a good deal. So it is another good way to do it. Just think about which one you want to do. Personally, if I like giveaways because then I'll give back. I'm also not worried about losing money, right? So I might do a higher start, but I'm going to do giveaways to kind of offset that. But you can either do $1 or giveaways. Either way, it works. Those are my 3 tips to get to 1,000 followers. I learned a lot. I think the first 1,000 is definitely the hardest. I think people don't realize how hard it is just to get on streams, say one person. Biggest thing I can tell you is just don't give up, right? So the first like 20 streams is rough, right? You're not going to have a lot of people in there. It is going to struggle. It is going to suck a little bit. After that, once you start gaining a following, it does feel better and it does avalanche, right? So it's that process of avalanching through it. You'll start to get 1, 2, and then once you see more viewers, you start going up and the followers kind of follow behind it. I will say the biggest thing is listening to people, getting what they want, and selling good product. Don't sell bad product. Number one, no one's going to buy bad product, no matter how big or how small you are. Bad product is still bad product. So that's a 4th kind of sneaky tip there. But just get good products, be personal, and people will follow you. Follow along because I'm going to do my 1,000 follower all the way up to my 10,000 follower. I'm not at 10,000 followers, but I figured I can help people along the way, kind of what I've learned. So really appreciate you all checking in. Definitely do in the comments below what you struggled with on Whatnot or on eBay. I mean, I am a reseller. I do both, but just drop it down below. Let me know what you think. Subscribe if you think this was helpful. And if you want to help me build a community of just Whatnot people. Thank you again.